We're starting Kuf Gimel Amud Beis, the last line. We're in the middle of the discussion of koisev. That if someone wrote a word, he was planning to write a long word, but he only wrote 2 letters of it. As long as those 2 letters are meaningful, he's chayiv. Now, the example brought in the Mishnah and in the Brisa was that he was planning to write Shimoin, and he only wrote Shin Mem, shame. So since shame is also a word, so he's chayiv. As in, what do you mean it's also a word? Shame has to be written with a final mem, and shimin has to be written with a regular mem. And we have a clear brisa which says that if you switch them, it's possible in the Sefer Torah and Tefillin and Mezuzah. So how could you say that you could just, do shame from shimin? It doesn't work. Says, what are you right? There's a different brisa. A brisa which says that the Torah is hinting to the word mayim with a final mem. So we see with 2 final mem. So we see that a final mem and a regular mem could switch. Says in 1 second. That's what we're holding right now. You're saying that just like you could replace a regular mem with a final mem, you can replace a final mem with a regular mem. Says the Gemara, not necessarily. The thing is like this. We already established in a different Gemara that the writing we have today of Hebrew, of Lashon Kodesh, it's called Ksav Ashuri, is actually the original Aleph base that Hashem gave by Har Sinai. It's just that it was forgotten later, and the Nevi'im later, and then Ezra Sofer reminded them, or maybe they forgot which one is the main one, and Ezra made that the main one is, or reminded them that the main one was the Ksav Ashuri, not the other Ksav that they most frequently used was Ksav Ivri, which is totally different, a whole different style. Now, one of the differences between the Ksav Ivri and the Ksav Ashuri is whether there's a different Aleph base, the double Aleph base for the middle of the word or the end of the word. All the final letters don't exist in ancient Hebrew. There's only one letter for that sound, for a mem, for a nun. There's only one letter. Now, we know one of the proofs that the letters we have today is the original, because there's a brayso which says that in the luchos, the mems and the samachs stood with an S, because it's a full circle or square, and in the luchos it was engraved through and through, so the middle piece doesn't have what to hold on to. The fact that it was standing was an S. Now that only exists in Ashuri, in our Aleph base. In Ivri, it's totally different. It doesn't have a full hole in the middle. It doesn't have that. So that's a proof that the Aleph base we have today is the original. But all we know from there is that they had the final mem. But there's a different brayso which says that nothing, doesn't say clearly Ksav Ivri or Ksav Ashuri. It just says that the double letters were established by the Nevi'im. Now we could understand from that maybe that although our Aleph base is the original, but there was one small change. That originally they only had the final letters. Throughout, wherever you would have the final, wherever you have a mem, would be a final mem. A nun will be a final nun. Came the Nevi'im and added the middle letters. We can't say the other way around, because then it wouldn't be in the luchis. You had a final mem in the luchis. So maybe the original are the final letters. Now, what happens then? Then it means that the final letters are more important. Not just more, they're more important than the middle letters. Plus, there's a reason to say that it's kosher to write a final mem instead of a middle mem, but not the other way around. You couldn't write a middle mem instead of a final mem because the original mem is the final mem. So how can you, who was this? How could the Gemara prove from the fact that a final mem could be instead of a middle mem, that a middle mem could be instead of a final mem? Who says? And that's why if he was writing Shimoin with a regular mem, maybe that can't replace a shame. It can't replace the final mem. Let's see it inside. It's the last few words on Kuf Gimel Amud Beis. Mi dami. Can you compare replacing a middle letter with a final letter to a final letter, replacing a final letter with a middle letter. Pasuach vasoy sosum, an open letter, which means a middle mem, which I replace with a final mem. Iluye komalele, you're improving it. The luchis, they had the final mem that we have today. So that was there originally. But if you replaced a final mem with a middle mem, you're making it a lower standard. The fact that we have a double letter for these letters, for these 5 letters, man sapach, in the order that they're written over here, that's according to Kabbalah, why it's in that order. According to Pshat, it should have been a very different order. But man sapach, tseifim amrum, were given to us by the Nevi'im. So obviously, which double one was given by the Nevi'im? Not the final one, because we had a final mem in the luchos. It must be the middle ones. So the middle ones are a lower category than the final ones. Says the Gemara, no. Before we get into any discussion, you have to look at the basics. The basic is there's no such a thing. Nevi'im don't make up anything. Whatever we have today was given from Moshe Rabbeinu. If we have 2 mems, and that's in Tefillin and Mezuzahs and Sefer Torahs, that's the way it was given to Moshe Rabbeinu. It can't be. Nevi'im did not make it up. Okay, but it's a Braisa. We'll have to explain the Braisa. Look at the foundations. Don't look at the details. The foundation is the Torah we have today is the Torah Moshe gave. Now, what about this Braisa? I'll explain to you, but stick to the foundations. These are the mitzvahs she'ein novi rashi lechadish dover miyato. Nevi'im, it's closed shop. Whatever was given, nothing to add. Nevi'im did not add anything in a tefillin, a mezuzah, and a sefer Torah. Okay, so what do we do with the brayso? Elami havi. It existed before. They already had the double letters. Only made the lehavu yadin. They did not know. Hey be'emtza teva, which belongs in the middle of a word. Hey be'seif teva, which belongs at the end of the word. And that v'asu tseifim takininu. The Nevi'im just helped us sort out what comes in the middle, what comes in the end. And the way the Gemara thought now is we forgot. And the Nevi'im told us a new thing. They made the rule what belongs in the middle, what belongs in the end. So the Gemara, no. That can't be either. Still, even to decide what's in the middle and what's in the end, if that rule did not exist before, Nevi'im cannot add. So what did they do? They forgot what belongs where, and the Nevi'im came and reminded them. So if the Nevi'im are just reminding us a thing that existed in the past, that's fine, because they're not making anything up. But they did not make it up. This existed before, and therefore the question's off. A middle mem and a final mem are the exact same status. If there's an opinion which says that if you replaced a middle mem with a final mem, it's kosher, it works the other way around as well. It's not the halacha, but it works both ways equally. Fine? Okay, that's that. Gufa. Amar Rab Chisda. Mem v'samach shebaluches v'nesa yoimdim. Fine? That's what we said before. Amar Rab Chisda like this. The opinion, the way it is in the Gemara, in Bavli, is that there's only one nes. The nes was only that the samach and the mem stood. But when we say it was engraved through and through, it was a natural way of engraving through and through. Which means to say that if you turned around the luchis, you would see backwards. You wouldn't see. We know, and it's brought from, we're taught from very young, I think, and that's from other places, from Yerushalmi, from other Midrashim, that is an opinion that you were able to read it from all sides. Rashi means it also. You're able to read it from all sides. But that's not the opinion of the Gemara here. The opinion of the Gemara here is there's only oneness, that the middle of the Samach and the Mem stood. But everything else was regular, which means you would read it from the opposite side, you would read it backwards. That's what he's saying. Nikram bifnim v'nikram b'chutz. You can read it from both sides, but kigoin navuv buvan. He's bringing an example of other words in Torah for, I don't know why. I'm sure there's explanations, but Taisa says he doesn't know why. But he's just taking a random word. Take a word navuv in the Torah. In the luchis, it would be in the luchis, you would read it from the back, buvan. Not really, because it would also be backwards letters. But just imagine that it would be written backwards. The same is bahar. There's a word in Torah, bahar. You would read it rahav. Saru, you have the word saru, varos. Fine. Why these words? Al pi pshat, it's a mystery. Al pi pnimis enyanim, there's for sure an explanation. I just didn't check it out. Fine. Okay. So we spoke about the double letters. We figured out that they were all there from before. And there's no difference between the middle and the final letter. And therefore there's one opinion which says that if you switch them, it's kosher. That's not the halacha, but there's a Mishnah which follows that opinion. Fine. Now that we spoke about this, we'll speak about a whole brisa which gives a lot of the secrets of the aleph base, a lot of the secrets of the at bash, the different ways how you could match or switch the aleph base. At means you start from aleph till Chof, and then you go backwards, Lamed till Tov. So you match up the beginning and end, beginning and next one. Like you start from Aleph and Tov, base, Shin, etc. Then there's many other ways how you set them up. You have, like, you put them in 3 rows, a Chas B'ta Gif. You put them in what's this? You put them also, you split them into half, but instead of doing At Bash, you match them up by the half. Aleph Lamed, Beis Mem. So in some of these, you have the double letters. Or Bechlal. We're going to go through the secrets of the Alephs in general, and we're going to mention also the secrets of the double letters, and that's how it fits into the Gemara over here. One second. Okay. Says the Gemara like this. Amlei Rabbana Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi was a rebbe of a yeshiva, and they had a special sections for newcomers, for children, and they would only come into the main yeshiva when they graduated. But here was the chiddush. Amlei Rabbana Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. The rabbis of the yeshiva came to the rebbe Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, and they told him, "Hey, also Dardike, young people came. Ha'idna just now, the main madrasha, they just entered the yeshiva." And all of a sudden, immediately they said things that they're such deep things that we never heard of them, and they didn't hear of them even in the times of Yeshua bin Nun. That's the highest you could go, because if you didn't hear it in the time of Moshe Rabbeinu, then it's canceled out of the Torah. Everything in the Torah was given to Moshe Rabbeinu, but Yeshua bin Nun, the next generation, they probably didn't hear these things either. Which means to say it's very, very deep things, which means it's much deeper than what we see over here. There's a lot of secrets in this whole Gemara over here. So this also shows that it's not just a simple pshat, because it's nice drushes, what we're going to say over here, but each one of these drushes have a much deeper meaning as well. So they went through the meaning of the entire aleph base with all the different variations of the aleph base. Says the Gemara like this. What do they say? Aleph base. What does the word aleph base mean? Aleph means learn. That's the Hebrew meaning of the word aleph. Bina, knowledge. Learn Torah, learn knowledge. Fine. Gimel dalis means gmoil dalim. Do kindness, give things to the poor people. Now, once we're speaking about the wording of Gimel Dalit, let's speak about the figure, the form of the Gimel Dalit. My time, what's the reason? Pshuta karei the Gimel agabi Dalit. Gimel's foot is stretched out towards the Dalit. Shekin darki shel gimel chasodim, a kind man, someone who gives tzedakah, his behavior is larutz achar dalim. He runs after the poor man. He doesn't wait for them to come to him. On the other hand, my time of pshuta karei the Dalit agabi Gimel. Why is the Dalit's foot in the Sefer Torah tilting towards the Gimel? Because the poor man shouldn't be running away and causing a hard job for the one who's giving him tzedakah. No. You know, someone wants to give tzedakah. Delim tzilei nafshei. Make yourself available. He wants to give you tzedakah. Let yourself accept. You're making it easier job for the one who's giving tzedakah. So stretch out your hand to him that he should, to make him an easier job. Now, my time in Mahader I pay the Dalad Migimel. Why in the Torah does it seem that the Dalad is facing away from the Gimel? He's not facing him. Because the Lit and Lei B'tzina, the rich man has to give the poor man hiddenly. He shouldn't face him. In order the Lichsaf shouldn't be embarrassed. Fine. Hey Vav, Hey and Vav, says Rashi, it's part of a certain name of the Eibishter. It's Shem Ab. Shem Ab is made out of 3 psukim that have 72 letters, and you start with the first letter of the first pasuk, the last letter of the second pasuk, and the first letter of the third is the psukim before Shiras Hayom, Vayisav Vayoviv Vayet, and we say it in what do you call it? In his shyness, we say Ani Vahu. That's really part of those letters, part of those names. And so Kevav is part of that name. Fine. It's part of the name of the Eibishter. Okay? Zach T Kol, Zayin Ches Tes Yud Kof Lamed. What does that mean? V'im ato Isakein. So it's going together. Kevav Zayin Ches Tes Yud Kof Lamed. What does that mean? V'im ato Isakein. If you learn Torah and you give tzedakah, so then HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's Hey Vav, Hashem, Zon Oischa, that's the Zayin, he will feed you, he will sustain you. V'chon Oischa, he will give you favor. Umeitiv L'cha, that's the test, he'll be good to you, kind to you. V'noisen L'cha Yerusha, that's the Yud, he'll give you inheritance, he'll give you things that you didn't even work for. V'koish L'cha Keser, that's the Kaf, he'll make a crown for you, and the Lamed is Lo'ilam Haba. He'll give it to you, not now, not a crown now in Gan Eden or in Lasu Lavi. When Mashiach comes, you'll get a reward for the fact that you're learning Torah and giving tzedakah. Fine. Then he continues, Mem Psucha Mem Stuma. So he's going through the letters. There's a Mem and a final Mem. What does that mean? Maimer Pasuach Maimer Sosu. When you learn in Torah, some things are meant to be open, the Nigla of the Torah, and some things are secrets of Torah are meant to be closed, meant not to be so open. That's the Mem Sosu. Nun Kefufa. There's a regular Nun which is bent, and Nun Pshuta, the final Nun, which is straight down. What does that mean? Nemon Kofuf. The faithful person who serves Hashem in these days isn't so respected. He's like bent over. But Nemon Pashut, when Mashiach comes, he'll be standing straight, standing proud. Fine. Samach Ayin, what does that stand for? Smoich Anim. Support the poor people. Sometimes before, the best time to catch a poor man is before he actually needs tzedakah, to support him in his business, to help him, to invest in him, to support him. Lishna China, the other way of explaining it, Samachayin is Simonim Asei Batoira. Make Simonim in Torah to remind you things. Don't just rely on the fact that you remember everything. Make some simonim that'll make you, like you have in the Gemara all over. You have the simonim for us to remember what's going on. Fine. Then we continue. V'knei oisa. And through that, you'll be able to acquire Torah. You'll be able to remember it. Fine. Then we continue. Pei kefufa pei peshuta. There's a bent pei and a stretched out pei, which means sometimes you have to open your mouth when no one else is teaching Torah, then you have to be the one to teach it. And pesasum, if someone else is teaching, then let him teach. You don't have to mix it, you don't have to make that you also know, and you also, could say, hey, let him speak and wait. And if he's someone that knows it better than you, you know what? So I also know. Whatever. Your time will come. In the meantime, just let it go. Fine. Then tzaddik fufa tzaddik pshuta. Why is there a bent tzaddik and a stretched out tzaddik, the middle and the final one? Tzaddik kofuf tzaddik pashut. Okay. So in today's day, the tzaddik is bent; he's not respected. And when Mashiach comes, then it'll be stretched out. So the Gemara, it's the same thing you said before. Hainu neman kofuf neman pashut. It's the same thing we said by the nun. He says, The Torah is telling you that he's really, really bent. What does that mean? In order to acquire Torah, you have to really bend your head down. You have to really be humble. That's the only way he'll be a tzaddik today, and that's the only way he'll get the reward, Lasid Love. Fine? Kuf, Kodesh. Kuf stands for the Holy One, and Reish is Rasha. So my time in Mahader, I pay the Kuf Mireish. Why is the Kuf facing backwards, away from the Reish? Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ein ani yochel listakel b'Rosh. I cannot face a Rosh. Oh, my time in Mahader, Takei the Kuf legabi Reish. Why is the crown on top of the Kuf facing the Reish? Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Im Chayzer, but if he does Shuvah, Ani Koyshel lekeser kamoisi. I'll give him a crown like I have. He'll be so connected to me. Oh, my time, I carry the Kuf Tluya. Why is the foot of the Kuf separate from the top of the Kuf? The other way that if the Rosh does Tshuva, the Ayel V'Leil Bach, he could sneak in through that passageway. He could get in touch with the Yebishter. Fine. Misayel in the Reish Lakish. This that we say that the Yebishter is giving a lot of opportunities for the Rosh to do Tshuva supports what Reish Lakish said. Why does it say in the pasuk, if you want to join those that mock, those that are far from Torah, who yolitz? You will mock, which means to say, I will allow you. I won't help you. I will. You want to go away from Torah? I give you your space. I give you free choice. However, if you want to join the humble ones, Hashem will give you the favor. Hashem will help you join them. Which means, Bali Tameh. If someone wants to become impure, Hashem just opens the gate. You want? It's your choice. I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to stop you. Bali Tair. If you want to become pure, Hashem helps you more than the effort you put in. Because that's what Hashem really wants. So that's what we see over here, that Hashem is telling the Rosh, you can sneak in here, you can sneak in there. If you want to stay where you are, it's your choice. Fine. Then we continue. Shin is sheker, and tov is emes. Now, my time is sheker mikarvan milei. The letters of sheker are shin, kuf, reish, the one next to the other. And emes, aleph, mem, tov, merachkamid. It's all spread out in the aleph base. Because shikr shechiach, lies are much more common. Kushta le shechiach. How many people say the truth? It's a rarity. It's like something you have to say. Honestly, as they say the whole time. Honestly speaking, as usually I don't speak honest. Honestly speaking, I'll tell you that, to be honest, as they say in English, to be honest, because usually I'm not honest. Once in a while I gotta be honest, or at least I want to tell you I'm honest. Yeah, fine, okay. So that's one explanation. Another detail. On my time, what's the reason? Shikra achada kare koi. The way it's written in the Torah, shin kufanesh, have only one leg because the shin is pointy at the end, so there's only one leg. Why is that? The emes melabin lebune. The emes aleph and tov have like a flat surface, which means they have two legs or a flat surface by the mem, which makes that they stand very firmly. What's the reason? Kushta koi. Although you have lies much more common, but they don't last. And truth lasts, and shikra loikoi, a lie doesn't last. Fine. That's explaining the alabis in the regular order. Now let's go to all the combinations. Atbash is the first. Aleph and the last one. Yeah, and then Beis and the second and last one, etc. Atbash means oisi tie. It's Rosh Hashanah. He disgusted me. He's not interested in me. Esaveloi. You'll think I'll have a desire to get close to him. Bash, be loy choshak. He does not want me. Shmi yochel alav. My name will rest on him. Gar, gufoy time. He made his body impure. Arachim alav. I will have mercy on him. Dak means dal soy noal. He locked my doors. He was not interested in entering in my doors. Then kind of leagadeya. I won't chop off his horns. I won't take away his honor. At kan midas rishoyim. That's it for the rishoyim. Ava midas asadikim. Let's go the other way around. Because the Rishonim of Uni Remes in the beginning, the Tzaddikim of Remes throughout. What is it? At bash, not a Rosh Tevis, it's a word. Im atoboish. If you you're embarrassed from doing an avera, gar dak. Gar means if you do that good, you will dwell bedoik in heaven. In one of the names for the heaven is doik, like the thin, laid out thing, whatever it is. But that's what it's called, doik, which means you will rest in Gan Eden. Hatzvaf, chatzitza havi. Hatz is like chatzitza. I will make a separation. Bein cho lo af. Vaf is like af. Especially the Timonim say it waf. So it's much more similar to af. Between you and anger, there'll be a separation. Zachastan, what does that mean? Ve'ein atom is dazeya, you will not tremble. Min hasoton. So zo is mizdazeya. And what's chos? I guess it means to say, I will have mercy on you, that you will not tremble from tan, from the soton. Yam koil, what's yam koil? Omer Sarshal Gehenim. The Malach in charge of Gehenim said Layam, to the sea, which has one of the names of the Gehenim. Koil, everyone should go to the Gehenim. Which means to say, most people do have it. Most enter my territories. Yeah? I'm just telling him a story. I have most of the people over here. Said, no, I'm not going to no. And now we're going, that's the end of Atbash. Yam Koil is the end of the Atbash combination. So we go to the next combination, where we line them up in 3 rows, but we're including, one second, what do we include over here? Achas b'ta gif, the chatz alak, one second, how does it work? Aleph till Zayin, Ches till, one second. Achas beta, so it's Ches till Nun, and Samach till Tov. I'm not sure if you have to use over here. We'll see how it goes. I'm not it's so clear now. Achas beta gif. That's the Abish's answer. Achas means ani chos aleim. I have mercy on them. Beta means himnei shebatu, because they sent away. What did they send away? Gif. Gif means the hepech of tznius. Niuf is called gif. They were so careful, and therefore I have mercy on them. They're not going to enter your territory. Dachatz means dachimheim. They feel low of themselves. Kainimheim, they're honest. Tzadikimheim, they're tzadikim. I'm almost sure that the one second. Achas b'tai gif. No, let's see. Okay. Halak. What does halak mean? Ein lecha chelik b'hem. You have no portion in them. They're not going to enter your territory. And then the final thing is umarzan shas. So it's vav, then mem, then reish, then zayin. One second. I have to write it down on paper. I didn't write it down. I'll write it down now. How it works. 1 second. Like this. Aleph, Beis, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Ches, Tes, Yud, Kof, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samach, Ayin, Pei, Tzadik, Kuf, Reish, Shin, and Tov. So at the end you have to do Vav, Mem, Reish without the double letters. Vav, Mem, Reish, then Zayin, Nun, Shin, and then the Tov is just extra, so it goes together. So he puts the Vav, Mem, Reish in a different setup. Vim, Mar, Zan, that's like going in 2 lines. Vav, Mem, Reish, Zayin, Nun, and then he goes Shin, Tov. What does that mean? Amar Gehenim Lefnei Ribono Shel Olam. Mori, my master, Zanemi, feed me. Mizari Shel Sheis, from the descendants of Sheis, which basically means all humanity, which come from Sheis, the child of Adam Arishan. So Amar Lei David tells him, now let's go to the next setup. of Aleph Beis. It's the same thing as Atbash, but just instead of going to the end, you go to halfway. Aleph to Kaf, then Lamed. So he tells him, Al Bam Gan Das. What does that mean? Al Bam. You're not going to get any portion in them. Al, no Bam in them. Gan Das, they're going to go to the garden of the Hadas. Where am I gonna bring them? Legan Hadas, to Gan Eden, which is full of Hadasim. Havaf, what does that mean? I'm tired. I'm hungry. What's the way? It's not fear. You take away my food. Says David, no. That's chak. Too bad. Halolu zari shel Yitzchak. Zayin zari tzachak. Of Yitzchak, the Yitzchak's descendants. You're hungry. Tar. Don't worry. Wait. Yesh kas. I have groups for you. Yesh likites kiddush umis kol umis. I have groups and groups of the other nations. Shani neisen l'cha. I'll give you. Don't worry. Leave these guys alone and have other food for you. So, what do we say over here? We got into the whole Agadita thing. We started off with the koisiv that in the Mishnah it mentions that it makes no difference if it's a mem or a final mem, which that follows one opinion that you could switch the two. And there's no difference which way you switch it, because the middle mem and the final mem all came from Moshe Rabbeinu. We know that the final mem came from Moshe Rabbeinu because it says that in the Luchos you had the mem through and through. But the middle mem also was from Moshe Rabbeinu because you can't add anything afterwards. And also which is which, it also came from Moshe Rabbeinu because you can't add anything. They just forgot which is which. Came the Nevi'im and they reminded them which is which. Fine? And according to our Gemara, in the Luchos, although the letters went through and through, but the only ness was that the middle of the mem and the middle of the samach stood. But the fact that it's that which way you read it, that was natural. It went backwards in the back. Fine? And then we said that there's a lot of things that they learned from the Aleph Beis. Young children came and they told them things that Yeshua ben Nun didn't know, but Moshe did know, obviously, that different shot them in the Aleph Beis, in the regular Aleph Beis, then in the Atbash combination, then in the Achas Betan, the 3-row combination, then in the Al-Bam combination, that's like Atbash, but instead of putting the Tuf in the beginning, putting the Lamed in the beginning, yeah? And they all have very nice explanations that you could go through. Again, we cannot go through all of them in a summary, because I'll be going through the whole Gemara. So that's basically a lot of nice, deep pshatim that the newcomers to the Beis Medrash said about learning Torah, about Mils Chasadim, about Rishoyim, about Gehenim, about Gan Eden. A lot of good things that we know about learning Torah, about giving tzedakah, and about being an Anav. That's all the things that we learn from the Aleph Beis, that all the names of the Aleph Beis, and the order of the Aleph Beis, all these different things were given to Moshe Rabbeinu, and these newcomers were able to figure out this thing.